Well, well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome and thank you for joining me tonight on In Review, where we look at some of the news or a news. What is your news? What is it that you want to bring to the fold? What is your news? Where is it from? Is it what's happening in America? What's happening in the UK? What is happening in Jamaica? Or what is happening in your neighborhood? There's always saying, who are the people in your neighborhood? They are the people that you meet each day. Okay? What's your news? That's it. What is your news? What's your space? What's your number? You know? Well, today is the 6th of October. Can you imagine? We're in October already. Pushing our way straight to Christmas. And I know while Christmas is coming, a lot of people may be saying, wow. You know why they're saying wow? They're saying wow because the Christmas period is going to be much colder. Yes, the Christmas period is going to warrant more heating. And many people are of the view that they will have to somehow tear themselves between eating or eating. It's not a nice thing between heating and eating, between keeping warm or keeping cold. All right? And both of them actually can create illness and lead to death. If you don't eat, it is starvation. If you don't have heat, you can die of cold, pneumonia, and all those sort of things, underlying sicknesses. And as a result of that, the government, all governments at this time, all governments around the world are somehow trying to see what they can do to somehow rectify this whole phenomena. This whole phenomena is something like a disease. This whole phenomena is like something which is like a virus. This whole phenomena, yeah. Mana, namananap. That's my children like that song. Mana. Anyhow, serious moments, yeah. You know, that on the BBC website, ladies and gentlemen, on the BBC website, there is even a section now which is called cost of living. Right? On the BBC website, there's a section which is called cost of living. Before, what they had was COVID. They had a virus. And at one point, it was Brexit. Can you believe that? Brexit was an item, a big page by itself. COVID was a big page by itself. And now what you have, the cost of living. Right? It's like a virus. Ladies and gentlemen, if you come on and you're watching the show, please, I'd appreciate it. Just share the show, share this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it with you. Yeah. I'll share it with you. I know you're sharing it with me, so I'm going to share it with you as well. Yeah, share it there. Share it everywhere. Share it all over the atmosphere. That sounds like a rap, isn't it? And for those on Instagram, share it there. Share it where, and share it all over the atmosphere. And for those on YouTube, share it there, share it where, share it all over the atmosphere. And those on Twitter, share it there, share it where, and share it all over the atmosphere as much as possible. Let's get down into it. Thinking about, and everything, because I abreast of the news to a certain extent, and I have a thought on it. I speak on political, socio-political issues. When I'm walking in the park, I touch base on all these different topics as well. And one of the things that I was talking about was U-turns. Is it wise for governments to make U-turns? Should they make U-turns? Think about that for a moment. Governments are out there to govern, to lead, and to get their advisors and to get things in place. And then they should know what they are about. The question is, are governments perfect? Are all these advisors perfect? Are they able to make mistakes? Think about that for a second. Are they perfect? Now, I remember one time when the not one time, it still happens when there's a high level of racism, which is in football, as we all know, racism in football. And they say, how do we stamp this out? How do we stamp out racism out of football? And Johnny Barnes made a fundamental statement. Johnny Barnes said, in order to stamp out racism out of football, you got to stamp out racism out of society, right? Because the persons who play football are from society. How you deal with stereotypes is based on society. How do you stamp out racism out of football? Stamp it out of society, because these are the same people that go there, right? And what we're seeing now is of a similar irk to a certain extent, whereby leaders, no one is perfect. People will make mistakes as they go about doing their jobs. And one of the things which is very uh, concerning to me to a certain extent, because I don't do it too much, but when you see the wave, the wave of persons at times who will latch on to all the different politics, the different programs, the different initiatives that politicians or political masters do. And people always have something to say, and nothing is wrong with having something to say. You must have something to say. You must be politically inclined, and you must be political savvy in some respect, even if it is in your bathroom. Just like when people say, I can't sing, I never sing, but your neighbors will say, really, she's always singing in the bathroom, or he's always singing in the bathroom, or the children will say, daddy's always singing in the bathroom, or mommy's always singing, right? People always have some sort of idea of what to do. And if you're not interested, even in politics, even if you don't go to vote, the big question you want to ask yourself is, if that's the case, do I have a say? Should I have a say with what is happening if I don't actually vote? Do I have a say in the bigger picture of things? Or should I just comment like on the armchair, like I'm doing now, and just commenting and say, boom, boom, boom. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're saying. Are we putting ourselves forward for political office? Are we putting ourselves forward in order? Thank you, Gary. I can see that. Are we putting ourselves forward to make an impact in society? You know, I was at today at the Jamaica Access to UK, or Access Jamaica UK. This is a program which is led by Jamaica, trying to get Jamaicans overseas to have their passports and to be able to get their passport as a one-stop shop. And one of the beautiful things of being there today was the fact that I was there with lots of fellow Jamaicans, right? I was there with lots of fellow Jamaicans, and it was a nice moment with a positive atmosphere. Yep, positive atmosphere. Positive atmospheres are powerful, ladies and gentlemen. They are powerful. Positive atmospheres. Positive atmospheres are so powerful whereby you can make a dent and you can make a difference with these moments, with this atmosphere. And what you speak into a situation or a scenario, it is words. Words are so powerful. How you speak into situations. You know, I was thinking again, and this is like my monologue, my commentary. You know? It happens best when I'm with no one and actually I'm on the show alone. It comes naturally. Join me. Let's go on a journey. Right? The interesting thing is that in life, You always have these moments, right, whereby things unfold within you, and then you have to somewhat make a fundamental decision, right? I was thinking that I was listening to MP, and I think they challenged the MP, and they say he's terrible for what he's doing. He said that people should somehow try to look for a second job, or try to you know get a raise, um, because you see, I think in a way we have always been seeing um, crisis upon crisis. The gas crisis, COVID crisis, Northern Rock, recessions, they come over and over again. Bitcoins dip, crisis. Maybe not crisis for everyone, but crisis for someone. And they come over and over again. But one of the things that happen when crises come, you either can go through it or you die. And when I say die, I don't mean physically die or literally die, but figuratively sometimes. And even some people literally die because of not being able to withstand the pressure. Pressures will come at all different times. Pressures will come to test us. Pressures will come to challenge us. Pressures will come to make us refine. When you think about, for argument's sake, you think about this diamond, this gold. Parties, ladies and gentlemen, they want to shower that engagement ring with their partner, and they get the end result. They get this glistening diamond. But that diamond didn't just was there at the surface, was there to take. Yes, it is there to take for us now, because we're seeing the finished product. We're seeing the refined product. But where that was, it was from deep down, deep within, deep in the earth, deep, deep, deep on the covered with dirt, in mess sometimes. But someone dug. Someone went deep. And the person that went deep had to undergo some pressure. And all that pressure that they went and they undergo and they took, that pressure was there to find something which is refined, to find something which is rich, to find something which is enthroning, to find something which is powerful, to find something which has value. But it had to go under pressure. There had to be pressure. So, ladies and gentlemen, the exciting news I have to say is this. With all what is happening around us now, it is to make you better, not bitter. To make you better, not bitter. Is that fair? Would you agree with that? I think what is happening now, the crisis, making you better or bitter? The Prime Minister stood up and said, growth, growth, growth. That's what you want. And therefore, that is her mantra. That is where she's going to lead the UK. Growth, growth, and growth. Quoting the Chancellor said, I got it with a 45p tax rate. I rolled it back. I heard you. I listened. And he rolled it back. And many people are actually saying, how comes you guys totally believed in this? You believe in this so much. What happened while you roll it back? They were saying, the people were saying, roll it back, roll it back. It's not going to work. The pound on the pound, the pound is slipping. We got to do something. Roll it back, roll it back, roll it back. They rolled it back. And people are now saying, these guys are crazy. These guys are nutters. They believe in something one day and they change their mind one day. If that's the saying that people are saying, if that's the thinking that people are thinking, then it might as well that government or leaders go full speed ahead with no consideration No thought about what people think, and just press on amidst everything, and just think that, hey, it's going to be 5 years in. I'm not going to worry about another hearing. Just do it. Maybe that's what needs to happen sometimes. Maybe politicians and leaders should not think about the next election. Maybe not. Maybe what they should think about is simply getting that thing done in my manifesto, my pledge, my plan, and have tunnel vision. Because really and truly, when you think about it, will take a time to manifest, right? And when you talk about words, words will come front and center, because really and truly, it was words that came out, words that they'll do 45p tax rate, words that move it back, words from the papers that says catastrophe, words from the paper that says a disaster. That one minister of government said to a reporter, hang on a second. Where's the disaster? Where is catastrophe? Right? We have been in power for 4 months, or they have been in office for a month. Well, really and truly, if one is looking at it in a real term, the Conservatives have been in power for 12 years, you know. But the government minister said, hang on a second, we've just been in power for a month. And most of them taken up for maybe 2 weeks of that in passing and the mourning period and the funeral. What's the catastrophe? What's the disaster? Words there. So therefore, if words are what is coming out, and words is what is putting fear in people, then words are also the same thing that we need to come to push hope, to tear away the despair. The words that disempower need words that empower. Maybe this is a motivational program now. In review, maybe it is evolving. Maybe I'm evolving. We're all evolving in some respect. Think about that for a second. So the Prime Minister, she said at the party conference, growth, and growth. That's what's going to happen. And also one other thing which has been hit is average 5-year mortgage rate hits 12-year high. The interest rate on a typical 5-year fixed rate mortgage has topped 6% for the first time in 12 years. Many persons who are getting to sort out their mortgage, what happened? It all stopped. They said, hold on a second, hold it. Don't go through that door. The ink is not dry. Don't go through that door. Wait a second. Hold it, mate. Hold it. Because guess what? The government is onto something right here now. And what the government is onto, we've got to make sure that we can manage it. We don't want to lock ourselves into something for 5 years and then we can't sustain it. And you also cannot sustain it. Right? So the typical deal now for a mortgage has a rate of 6.02%, fixed, of course. The Financial Information Service Manufacturer says a level not seen since February 2010. I've seen my mortgage rate jump. Mortgage rates have been rising for months, but saw a sharp increase following the mini budget last month. So therefore, if the mini budget and if these budgets are actually creating havoc, you know what I'm saying now? If the budgets are going to create havoc, or if a big budget is going to create havoc, well, don't do the budget. It's like somebody is clapping us. It's a commercial. You clap, we clap, and they said, every time I clap, a child dies. Every time I clap, a child dies. And then somebody said, well, stop clapping. Stop clapping if a child dies every time you clap. Of course, that is a bit of a jokey way. Okay? But the point is that if the mini budgets, or if the budget is going to create havoc in the marketplace, don't do the budget. What do we say about that? Don't do any budget. What do you say, guys? Should there be in the budget? If you're going to make an announcement, and if that is going to create a run on the market, don't do it. Don't do it. Let Liz Truss sit in her office, make the deals. Let Liz Truss set out her plan, set out a modus operandi, set it out, and just go ahead and do it. Don't listen to the naysayers because they are Labour. Don't listen to the naysayers because they are Lib Dem. Don't say listen to naysayers because they're from the transport unions or whatever like that. Yeah. How many voices will you listen to? How many voices do you listen to when you're about to make a move, to make a deal? I remember when I was starting my show, and I remember many different voices were coming. And I was sharing a couple of things with a couple of persons. Many different voices were coming to the point where I stopped at one point and said, if I did listen to certain voices or did listen to many voices, then what would happen? I could end up having a show and having a vision. And when I check it out, it has nothing to do with me. Because guess what? I was spooked. Many people are spooked out of their vision. Many people are spooked out of their dreams. Many people are spooked out of the blueprint. Many people are spooked. And therefore, if they are spooked, then what you got to do is shut your ears. What you got to do is have tunnel vision and move forward. You know, that's what I think. Sir Garry, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm just a little bit upset with my computer here. It's not behaving itself at all.
Don't worry. Tell the computer say it did a fantastic job because by doing so, I was able to do a monologue there, a good half, 25 minutes monologue. Maybe I'm also I'm so pleased by myself, Garry. That
Well, at least if Liz Trust puts you on the platform, you can
listen,
you can keep the party engagement.
listen. I tell you what I found something very interesting. A reporter said that the prime minister's speech is going to be 25 minutes. They said so. It's going to be a minute speech. The chancellor's speech was about 15 minutes. The home secretary's speech was about 15 minutes or so. Garry, there were no long speeches. And I thought about it for a second. I said, but why is there a need for long speeches?
Well, I mean, probably they didn't have much to say.
My view is that, if you have nothing to say less, man, and get in the office and do some work.
Yeah, yeah.
But otherwise, Anna, how are you, sir? How are you?
No, thank the Lord. I'm doing good, sir. Sir CDL, I'm glad to be once again on this Seymour or the Sylbourne CDL show.
That's that's that's
Another
that's
Thursday
that's
afternoon.
that's the word. Be on the greatest show in the world, straight out of Ochirio, straight out of Ochi.
Yeah.
As I
Not Compton, straight out of Uchi.
straight out of Ochi. I was actually at the passport immigration citizenship agency PICA in Lewisham a while ago. And every time I met one of the staff or who came over from Jamaica, I said to them, "Hi, how are you? You're from Jamaica." I said, "Are you from Ochi?" Every single person I did ask if they were from Ocherius or so. But on a serious note, though, Garry, the Prime Minister and the Chancellor at the party conference, or just before the party conference, there was a U-turn in regards to the 45p tax rate, which was being pushed. And as a result, I'm not going to say it was a result of that, but even before that, the pound started to rebound. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And they made the U-turn, and they got backlash for making the U-turn, and they got backlash for actually the 45p rate. So my question is this: should they have just stand firm and push through amidst the concerns to save face. There's two saving face here. Saving face from the backlash of actually pressing ahead, or saving face from the backlash of saying no, 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 way I do.
I like that one. Probably it was that one, you know.
Which one? Which one do you think it was?
You don't know what you do.
But but do you think anyhow still it was the right thing to do?
um, if the U-turn, in my estimation, if the U-turn was because of the meeting with the OBR, because they did say that they're going to have a meeting, yes, with that department.
Yes.
So if it was based on having a meeting with them and they thought it best to make the U-turn, you see, sometimes we need, all of us, we all need to make a U-turn every now and again, because obviously, if I'm traveling from Leeds or from Birmingham to London, and we all know that the M6, M1, or the M42 and the M40 takes us to London. But apart from that, still, if I then take a road or a B road that is taking me totally in a different direction away from London, and I didn't plan to take it, I need to take or make a U-turn.
Yes.
And I think that the government, if Liz, who was quite adamant in the beginning, yes, that this is what she wants to do, which is fine. That's what a leader ought to be doing. At least if she knows where she wants to get to, then those who are following will have confidence in that leader.
Mm.
If the leader from the very outset begins to ask questions, not sure, hesitant, then when the leader begins to make a forward move, they're going to wonder, is that the right move? And I think that when it comes to the Chancellor, which is the mouthpiece of the Prime Minister anyway, when it comes to fiscal policies,
Yes.
if he stands and says, this is what we're going to do, and it's a U-turn more or less, we're doing a U-turn, and the party has known that they've been in meetings with the Office of Budgetary Resources, whatever.
Yes. Something like that. That's right.
Then probably that's the best thing for them to do, and they should be confident enough. They should be confident enough. Now everybody knew still, even Stevie Wonder knew that when they came out with the 45p tax reduction, from the moment that came out of their mouth, then everybody knew that was the wrong decision to make. Everybody knew that. So why is it then, as soon as they then said, okay, is it Kwame? He said, we've heard you, we've listened, this is what we're going to do. Why are we then questioning the U-turn? I don't understand that. That is what I don't understand. It's not so much what the government has done, it's what those, whether in the party, in the media, on social media, in the banks, the financial sector, why are they then now questioning why they've made a U-turn? I mean, it just beggars belief, really. So.
Yeah, I always think about that a lot. I always think about that a lot. When leaders or persons make a U-turn or change course, because I think the Bible speaks about in when there's an abundance of advisors or so, there's safety. Is that what it says, Gary?
In the council, in the multitude of counselors, there's safety.
In the multitude of counsels, there's safety.
Yes.
And therefore, they may have a small multitude before, but then more multitude came on at the same time and was advising, and everybody was saying, hey, you guys are making the wrong move. And they came out now and made another move. And that move seemed to be what the popular view was. But as you rightly say, there then became an undercurrent questioning the credibility, questioning the leadership, questioning the authority. And I'm now have to actually draw the conclusion that many a persons who actually speak a lot on these issues are doing it because they like the sound of their voice. And secondly, they're doing it because of their maybe party allegiance, right? So therefore, the death knell towards the conservative or towards the government will always come from the Labour Party and will always come from the Lib Dem and will always come from those who just hate or what they say the Tories. That even a nurse or so, some medical person was saying, if a Tory is dying or so, don't resuscitate, don't resuscitate them. You know what I'm trying to say? Um,
Mm.
that's what is happening now, and I'm of the view that leaders need to somehow start to maybe have tunnel vision when they believe that they're really on track. Because if you listen to everything, you don't know actually who is the voices that mean you well. I was listening to Andrew Marr, and Andrew Marr was challenging another MP. I don't know if the MP was a conservative, must be a conservative. And Andrew Marr said, the person said to Andrew Marr, but if it was the other way or blah blah blah, you would be doing this. And he said, yes, I think so. Yes, I'll do it, because it's my job. I'm paid to do it. So he's actually saying and acknowledging the fact that he would be going at the person either way because it's his job. And that is what. So therefore, there's a need for leaders to stand their ground and to be rocky and to show that they have stamina, but yet at the same time be humble with humility when it's time to change course.
Yes, that is the job. I mean, the job of the opposition is to disrupt and to not to agree with everything the government is saying. So, if it was, as you so rightly said, if this is what you mean, if the Labour was in government and they had made the same mistake, the Conservative would also be jumping up and down on
Yes.
the issue.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that um, there's been really what the question again is, and which could be asked, if Labour won the next election
Mm.
and comes into government, what difference would they make if the Liberal Democrats came in, let's say by a fluke of whatever? What
Mm.
difference would they make? Governments cannot make decisions on their own just to suit their own country or their own climate. It won't work. It will not work.
Yeah. Yeah.
The United Kingdom, with all of the good intentions that it wants to do and which the leaders of political parties wants to do, they cannot work in isolation of other governments, of other fiscal policies that are in play right now.
Yeah.
That is, you see, as far as I am aware, and I'm concerned, still, is that there are so many policies that has been passed in the recent 40, 50 years
Yes.
that even though, for some people it has done well every time a new policy comes in, but just because a new policy and a new direction comes into play every so often, every 2, 3, 5 years,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that whatever is in effect then disappears and it has no more any effect on society or on the community in which it was designed to help. Because when policies stop and when new policies are put in place, the policies that is supposed to replace is still in effect. It is still turning over. The wheels on that is still going.
Yeah.
And when new policies come in, which took place even from the time of Maggie Thatcher, we are still feeling the effects of that. To a lesser extent, yes, but we're still feeling the effects of that. Never mind if a Labour Party comes in and they then put their policies in place. Does that mean that whenever their policies come in, that the Conservative policy that was put in play 4 years before immediately stops? No, it doesn't. So
Yeah.
it just makes the soup that much more thick and much more confusing to eat.
Mm.
So I think the country, we as the citizens of the United Kingdom, we've got to, yes, we are upset with them. Yes, we are a bit confused with what the politicians are doing and saying and etc etc.
Mm.
But we've got to take into our thoughts still that in my mind I think we've got to be very much aware that it is not only the politicians of today, if we're going to blame anybody, that we blame today, but we have to also take into effect the politicians of yesterday, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years back, because they've all had,
Play the
um,
part.
yeah, some part to play in where we are today. And many people, many political tacticians could always say, "Oh, this politician, he did very well. He made an effect on this community. He made an effect on that community. They did very well. Very good policies. Very good this. Very good that." Which of course probably it did. But how long will that last? Because somebody else will come wanting to make that better, that service, to make that policy better, to tweak it a bit. But in tweaking that, it affects something else.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a very trying time, I must say. But then today I was actually scouring the news, just preparing myself, and one of the things I saw was on the BBC news site. It has home, cost of living, war in Ukraine, coronavirus. COVID is still there. And at one point, you remember, there was Brexit at a space by itself. So the cost of living now is something of a high proportion, which is, I could say, I could comfortably say that it is almost like a virus of a economic nature that need, what did we do? I need a vaccine. I need something to sort it out. But what it has shown as well is that we're not immune from these things that happens to us regular. Every time or every year, there's something new. If it is not a COVID, if it's not a vaccine, if it's not cholera, it's a recession, it's a northern rock, it's a Brexit, or it's a Brexit, it's what else again? It's a Bitcoin or whatever, because everybody's circumstances is so different. The question is this: how does one actually recognize that these things will happen and see it as something that can be a plus factor that can, better you? Like I said, diamonds are not found on the surface. Gold is not found on the surface. You got to dig deep. There's pressure that these things are made under. Can we be refined, Gary, and be strengthened at this time with the pressure which is going to be on a lot of people and myself and us?
Can we be refined?
Yes, can we refine? Can we, like diamonds and gold? These things are found under pressure. They were built under pressure, and then someone had to dig deep. People die in mines. You always hear people dying in mines because people dig deep. There's work, but when it comes out, it is shining. It's ready, and many of us actually are wearing these things because it's beautiful, but it came out of pressure.
So I mean, I want to believe that um, in every human being,
Yes.
in every human being there is treasure. There is a piece of gold. There is a piece of diamond in
Mm.
every human being. It all depends now on that particular human being if they want to be refined so that something good comes out of them.
Yes.
Um, Sadly, there are some that makes the wrong decisions for themselves.
Yes.
I think history will always note that things. Have you ever thought about this before I go on that in that direction?
Mm.
Have you ever thought that um, that human beings are are um, creatures is a creation that God made that always comes out on top,
Yes.
never gives up, and and whenever mankind has reached a point in their time in history, wherever we are, whoever we may be, at whatever time, that something good always comes out of pressure.
Mm.
As a people, I'm talking not only as individuals. Now I'm talking about as a people.
Mm.
When I mean we know about the Industrial Revolution, we know about the Great Depression, we know about the Great Technology Revolution, if we can call it that, in the mid '80s to late '80s,
Mm.
'90s, and such. These things only came about because man, wherever or whatever nation it was in, it went through some tough times, but
Mm.
something good came out of it. Something good came out of these things. And I would want to believe that where we are concerned, men and women all over the world, when we are going through our situations and tough, really difficult times,
Yeah.
there are people who always come out better. Always. I remember, Sil, and you could probably identify with this. Not you of yourself, but you know people. I remember back in the late '70s
Mm.
in Jamaica, and '80s, where there were people who were poor. They never had anything. I mean,
Yes.
when I say they didn't have anything, they had nothing.
Mm.
I know someone that didn't went to school. He never went to school, but
Mm.
he could talk, and he would even say he never went to school, but he had ambition,
Mm.
and he made something of himself. And right now in Jamaica, he's traveled. He had the mind. He dug himself out of poverty. He he may have a couple homes.
Yeah.
He had ambition. He did something.
Yeah.
Now, I would say that if he didn't go through pressure, because everybody knows also in the late '60s, sorry, in the late '70s, mid '70s, late '70s, early '80s, that crime wasn't as high as it was today, but during that time, obviously,
It was high. Yes.
it was high.
Yes.
It
Yes.
was
I
high.
understand. I understand when you compare it to then to now, you might say it wasn't that bad, but at that time, it
Yes,
was high. Yes.
it was
Yes.
high.
Mm.
But but that didn't stop people from excelling. That didn't stop people from putting the shoulder to the wheel, so to speak, and making something of themselves.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
I've just used that in relation, for Jamaica, in relation to the whole world. There are people all over the world
Yes.
that goes through tough times,
Yes.
difficult circumstances. We can't imagine that. So
And it's very interesting that when we even make comparisons of ourselves now, even with the crisis that we're under, and compare it with other countries and other persons, because you know, it is like we are what is it? Count your blessings one by one. When you count
Yeah.
your blessings, you realize. But that doesn't mean to say that one sit on their laurels.
No.
And you know, we have to try to make things better. But but I think the key thing is, because when we look at even what the at MPs said, that persons need to look for maybe another job, maybe to seek a raise, maybe to get another second job or so like that. But really and truly, a lot of people are doing that. People are doing that. All this, Boris Johnson or whatever, like, they don't have one job, Gary.
No.
No,
They've got several jobs.
they have different
I don't know
streams.
how they do it.
Yeah, they got different streams of income coming in. The Richard
Right.
Branson, the Alan Sugars, these guys, those guys will never retire. Right? It's right to their deathbed that they're going with this. So therefore, anyone that says to persons one need to be creative, innovative. I remember during COVID period, a lot of people started to. I know a couple of people who did some more exams and qualified themselves more, equip themselves at the same time, because they found that they had time on their hands. And I believe that with the pressure, it's going to challenge persons to somehow, as I say, it is not to make you bitter, but it's to make you better. Because you can get bitter by everything what is happening and sit down and let all these guys fill up our head and news or the online news. Oh, what's the sense? What's the sense? But my philosophy and what I'm thinking and what I'm pushing is to encourage persons at this time, that no matter what, you know, um, there's going to be a light at the end of a tunnel, and it won't be a oncoming train. Like years ago in Jamaica, there was a newspaper. The newspaper had this guy named Leandro, and they always show Siaga or Manley, and the train. They saw light at the end of a tunnel. Because you know, politicians, there's light at the end of a tunnel, and Siaga said, "There's light at the end of a tunnel," and a man said, "It's an oncoming train."
Oh, God.
or like when Sega said one time, money shall jingle in your pocket. And a man said, we don't want to jingle, paper money we want, we don't want to money jingle.
Oh my God, I tell you. Yeah. I think so.
Yes.
Yes, difficult times are coming, and the difficult times are here for us. I would
Mm,
even say for both of us. But I believe that if we stop complaining, if we stop complaining and don't be bitter, you know, there is light, there is a way out. Man, there is always a way out for man. Man always seems to find a way to survive,
mm.
because man is a survivor. Mankind is a survivor.
It's a natural instinct in
Natural,
man
natural
to be
instinct.
a survivor, isn't it? Sometimes why am I getting an echo? As Vita came on, I started getting echo. Vita came on, I was thinking,
Hey, Vita, better times are ahead. Yeah,
I
yeah.
should come on here, echo. Okay, it's gone. Maybe it's Vita. I don't know what I said. Vita got it out of my head. Maybe I was thinking some. Maybe I was thinking some crown in the spirit.
Oh, good.
um, yeah, better times. But there's something I wanted to pick up on. Something I wanted to pick up on, which I was looking at today. When I was saying, I was covering the cost of living side, and was saying our other countries tackling energy bills, and I was looking at some comparison, and they said the EU, they said like energy bills have been rising for households across Europe in recent months. Price increases have been driven by rising energy demands and worries about gas and oil supplies in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. keep saying Russia's invasion of Ukraine. I wonder what will happen, and I pray for the day that um, Mr. Putin said, "Okay, shut it down now," and see if things will go back. Because I do note that the petrol has going down, Gary. Do you notice that it's going down?
Yeah, petrol has gone down. I mean, but you see, what's concerning me with all of this is that I don't. Well, I'm sure you listen to the news where OPEC Plus have now said that they're cutting in November. They're cutting um, the, the output of oil by 2 million barrels per day,
Yes.
which to some extent will it's going to affect prices. Now, why is Saudi doing that? Why is Saudi Arabia doing what they're doing, seeming to favor Russia, knowing that the whole world at this moment in time is really struggling. It's struggling. And
Mm,
bearing in mind, even the very British government now, well, it's not the government per se, it was the energy companies that are saying that in the winter we may be having to suffer um, power outages for at least 3 hours per day, which of course it's not making sense.
yeah.
There's a lot of things I believe still that is being done. There's a lot of things I believe that is being said that we, the citizens of the nations of this world, of the countries of this world, we don't know. We just do not know. The very people that we have elected to represent us and to
Mm.
represent our concerns and what we are voicing, they are not coming back to tell us what really is happening.
I think just like how there's going to be the new um, inquiry regarding COVID with the judge that's been going for a while. I think at some point they call really underpin and see what is going on because of this world crisis. But if I go back to the EU and what the EU is actually saying, they say in 2021 it imported 40% of its gas from Russia. So many of its members are exposed to high energy prices. President Trump, when he was president, did say this a lot. Say we guys are relying too much on Russia. He said,
Exactly.
he's, yeah,
That's the
yeah,
very same thing that came to mind, and I did say that
yeah,
Trump, some shows back, he voiced his concern that Europe, especially Germany, was relying too much on the gas that Russia was saying that they would supply, and they gave assurances that they would not use the gas
mm,
pipeline, the energy, as a chess piece against Europe. And what are
yeah,
they doing now? They're
yeah,
doing the very same thing that they said they wouldn't do.
yes. To make a point about we're going as we're comparing different countries, people must live within the mean and have a budget. Um, well, if they're going to follow governments, they're not going to have a good example because governments are borrowing money to the borrowing money beyond everything, guys. So there's not a good example which is coming from government now because it's like and people are saying if we borrow as much as we can, then it's going to hit our children, children, children. But really and truly, you might not have any children, 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 Gary, when people die, starve, and dead. That's the other
No,
thing.
I mean, listen to this. Listen to this. I mean, I
Yeah.
understand what Vita has put out, and
Yes.
she's right. You
Yes.
know, with the statement that she's made that people must live within their means and have a budget. Yes, everybody should have one. Everybody should work within their means, and that goes without saying. However, I don't know about in the United States, but here on the television sets, and I'm sure Sylbourne will bear witness to this, that what is being advertised now, more now than any other time, is that they're advertising now where people can remortgage their homes
Yes.
or go to particular financial institutions to help them to get through this financial malaise that they know the citizens of this country is having to face. Now they're not only telling people to live within their means, but in actual fact, they're telling people to borrow and to spend that which they haven't got.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's mixed messages. It's
Mm.
mixed messages. So when people now who follow the advice of government and follow, the advertisements in which it's being shown, then when the rubber hits the road, where they then have to repay the money that they have, applied for, they don't have it.
Yes.
And then the government or the financial institution says, "Well, that is your fault. You should have thought about that when you took
No.
the service out, when you took the loan out." But you see, they give with one hand, but they take with the other.
Yes. 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 And
There
it's
are
some,
mixed messages that these governments, not only the the government of the United Kingdom, but I believe even the government of the United States, of the European Union, of wherever people are in this world, governments are giving mixed messages, and I really feel sorry, for people like us. I really feel sorry because we're gonna have a hard time.
yeah. I'm gonna post on my page the way all the different countries are dealing with it. Germany household has been facing a rise in gas bill of around 62% of this year. Package, which includes a cap on gas price for consumers and business, is expected to last until March 2024. They are trimming energies, lights, street lights, lowering the temperatures in public swimming pools. So the government is leading in that. France, French government forces state-owned energy provider EDF to cap prices at 4% for a year at a cost of 8.4 billion euros, 7 billion pounds. It says the cap will rise in gas and electricity at 15% for 2023 as a part of 45 billion. Italy has announced a 14 billion or 12 billion pounds plan to allow families to keep their fuel bills at around 2021 levels. Right? So different countries are doing things to help pay for this. Taxes are being raised on energy companies. So therefore, windfall taxes is being hit on different countries. UK don't want to do that because they want to attract person. Netherlands, Leicester country, VAT and energy bills, tax on petrol and diesel. Low income households are getting a 1,300 euro energy allowance this year to help with energy bills. How much the UK is proposing? £400? £400 for everybody. The Dutch government will provide another 1,300 for a poor household in 2023 as well. So they are looking so far. I mean, I fail to understand why somehow they cannot be brokering deals, brokering deals with Russia, brokering deals with China, brokering deals, get around the table because everybody's standoffish. All these leaders now are standoffish and just wreaking havoc on people's lives. Gary, they're crazy, they're nutters.
You see, uh, I don't think that I really do not think that there is a clear communication between government and people. It is the people that have placed politicians in government.
Mm.
It is the people. It is we, the people, that
Yes.
put these men and women who we call as members of parliament in the United States. Vito, what are they called? They're, either senators or congressmen
Congressman.
or
Yes.
all of that.
Or,
We
or
all
Trump.
in in um in Jamaica, they're known as what? Members of parliament, yeah?
Yes.
And they're called various other names all over the world. But it is the citizens that put these people to in the places of power, the town halls, the whatever they call the buildings, so that they can be a voice of the population of the
Mm.
community where decisions are made.
Yeah.
And you're telling me, right, that everybody else must feel the pinch, but I've never heard of one MP. I've never heard of one congressman or senator. And I'm not saying that I must hear about it because I'm not in the country. So, but I'm just voicing it on behalf of others. That you're telling me that I've never heard of these people
Yeah.
complain that the bills are too high. I've never heard them complain
Yeah.
that they can't pay their bills or
Because they get
they can't put
allowances.
food on their table.
Taxpayers pay their allowances, the travel fares
Exactly.
and everything.
So
Allowances.
these men, these men and women, fine. They've got great responsibilities. Okay, that's fine. I mean, they can always say that they go to meetings and stay up late at night and burn the midnight oil and all of that. That's fine. That's why they're there. But at the same time, they are not experiencing the harshness of life.
Mm.
They were there, that they were sent to voice the concerns to those who could help the population,
Yeah.
because they are not feeling what we are feeling,
Yeah.
and things are being said to them behind closed doors that affects us. It doesn't affect them.
Yes.
It affects us, but they're not telling us anything. So,
Yeah, none of the idiot people, none of the odd people, none of those guys who are directors are affected directly. I mean,
no.
they may say they're affected because of the big deal that they have and so like that. But anyway, moving on and wrapping up, Gary. Black History Month. It seemed like even the energy thing has quiet Black History. No, you're not thinking of Black History Month, or I guess it depends on where my focus is.
you see again, Sylbourne, Black history, Black people, Black history, Black this, Black that, Black Lives Matter. These things only come about when it suits them.
Them who? Them who?
Them up at top. And we don't have bottom. We don't.
Kanye West came out the other day and said White Lives Matters, and everybody having meltdown.
No, but still, listen. I mean, Black Lives Matter. I'm all for it. I mean, I haven't got a thing to say.
Ochi Lives Matters.
Ochi Lives Matter. Well, yes. I mean, I don't have a thing to say against Black Lives Matter or Black History Month. These things are important for every black man, woman, boy, girl, babe that is being born. But these things are on, but at certain times of the year, certain times of whatever year, whatever may happen, it is only mentioned when it suits those who says a big thing about it.
Yeah.
When there's an election of whatever sort, right? When these things happen, the black man's vote is important. They want it.
Yes.
And they will make mention of it. And they will say what needs to be said.
I get where you're coming from, that it is normally for a period of time when it's crucial and very pertinent in regards to votes. Yeah. Well, Gary.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, let's wrap up now. But just say one last thing is that I did pop down to the Access Jamaica tonight in South London, and they said it was really packed, and also in your hometown in Birmingham as well, it was really packed as well, Gary. So 6 to the 8, the remainder of it is going to be at the St. Paris Church, St. Mary, 346 Lewisham High Street, London. I popped down there, took some pictures, I did some few interviews with a few persons there, and the feedback is that people are really grateful for them attending and sorting out their bits and pieces. So it's going to continue 2 more days, which is going to be Friday, tomorrow, the 7th, and the 8th as well, from 9 to 4 p.m. They said they're going to open from 8:30. I was speaking to the Registrar General Department CEO, and he said he was there supporting his staff. Some of them haven't even got up except for toilet break. They will eat. So I said to them, I said on Saturday, they may have to have that thing which they put in people when they're in hospital to feed them. Say line. Because Saturday is going to be very busy. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can renew your adult passport, renewal for new children passport, lost, stolen, damaged adult passport, lost, stolen, damaged children passport, citizenship by descent 120. And make sure when you go there, try not to drive. I'll say now, try not to drive because that is an issue you're gonna experience that when you go there because there's no parking unless you're gonna park in Lewisham Town Center and just walk across, which is very close anyhow still. But try not to drive. I expect parking. Think about that as well. And cash, it's cash. No credit card, no money transfer, cash. Yeah. Yeah. So Gary, listen, this is a great one.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I don't know up to my computer. It's good to see and to see Rita.
Yes, yes.
I keep missing her, and it looks like she doesn't want to come on to the Thursday night one. She loved the talk and sip.
Well, I was reading scriptures at here. They was quoting scriptures.
Yeah, I mean, he was very. At 1 minute, he was very quiet and couldn't talk, as if him tongue gone, and then all of a sudden, him couldn't stop.
Who was that king in the Bible that got dumb or couldn't talk? Was it Nebuchadnezzar? I don't remember. What was it?
Yeah, it was Nebuchadnezzar, man. Turn into a beast. No, I don't know if Lester. I don't know if Lester was on what is it called? The Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Gary, listen, and ladies and gentlemen, listen. Have a good night. Thank you so much for joining.
It's great to be a part of this, and
and also the discussion I had with that young lady, Tia Starney, which was on Tuesday night on Instagram, which is now uploaded on YouTube, where she gave us some education about black in sports, and say don't think that it was the Williams sisters first. There was Miss Gibson, Althea Gibson, and she did in a spoken word. Althea Gibson, I think Althea Gibson as well. So there's some very interesting thing. And also, Gary, I found out that there was another lady who actually was sitting in the bus before Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks wasn't the first one. But guess what? Why she was overlooked was because she was too fair skinned. She was superficially black. That's what I looked at one day.
Black History Month didn't start, you see.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys, on Instagram. Jacqueline Orville. Jacqueline said, yes, there was another lady. Let's talk about that lady, because I think the movement at that time never really pandered to her because she was a bit too fair-skinned, like, you know what I'm saying, as well. But it's about Black history. But the interesting thing what the young lady said, also, Tia Steiner, was that she's a lot focusing also on Black who are present days, not just all the way coming from Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. You're talking about the Garys, you know what I mean? The persons who are in the communities doing things. That's part of Black history as well. You can't always keep talking about Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and all those stuff. But you gotta even go beyond, they'll go before that as well, and then go earlier as that as well. So it's very interesting days, right?
It is.
Great show. Well, the good thing about you coming on late, as I said, I was pressured, and I believe I shined. So I'm going to listen back to that 25 minutes monologue, which I did. Scriptless, ladies. Scriptless. Not one script. Not one script. Like these guys in these, Trevor Noah and all those guys. They all have script in the reading of the joke. I had no script. It was Holy Ghost filled. I was pulling on and saying, what am I going to get next? What word is we going to do?
I hope Lester in the background was saying amen and hallelujah while you were there monologuing.
Yeah. All right, Gary. Peace out.
All right then. Bless
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night. Thank you. Remember to like and share. Thank you. Bye bye.